Transformations have been one of Dragon Ball's defining features, from the moment Goku first turned into a great ape to the jaw-dropping debut of Super Saiyan. These power-ups weren't just displays of strength, they carried weight, emotion, and meaning. But as Dragon Ball evolved, so did its transformations. What started as story-driven milestones slowly became something else. So what changed? When did these once iconic moments start losing their magic? And more importantly, why? To answer that, we have to rewind time. It's 1991. The Namek Saga is in full swing. At the center of it all is Frieza, the ruthless tyrant who wiped out an entire race over a legend, a prophecy of a warrior powerful enough to bring his reign to an end. But this isn't just a battle for survival. For the Saiyans, this fight is personal. Vegeta, the proud prince of a lost race, desperate to restore its legacy. Goku, the lone survivor raised far from his origins, facing the very tyrant who wiped out his people before he even knew they existed. Destiny, history, and raw emotion collide in a way that Dragon Ball had never quite done before. And woven into all of this was the slow, deliberate build-up to a transformation that would change anime forever. The legend of the Super Saiyan wasn't just hinted at, it was felt throughout the entire arc. Every moment of tension, every desperate struggle, every declaration of Frieza's absolute power was laying the groundwork. And then Krillin dies. In an instant, everything snaps. The rage, the grief, the shift. Goku's transformation was the moment he embraced his Saiyan blood, the culmination of an entire arc, the turning point of a rivalry, and a transformation that carried the weight of an entire lost race. It was raw, emotional, and absolutely unforgettable. I still remember seeing the transformation for the first time as a kid, just sitting there, eyes wide, feeling like I had just witnessed something world-changing. But what made it even better is that Toriyama didn't stop there. Once Super Saiyan was introduced, the mystique surrounding it didn't disappear. It evolved. Instead of handing out transformations easily, Toriyama tied them to character growth. Future Trunks arrives and casually obliterates Frieza, but rather than ruining the Super Saiyan mystique, it amplifies the stakes. If a Super Saiyan barely survived his timeline, what kind of monster is coming? Vegeta's transformation was the opposite, rooted in pride, self-doubt, and sheer obsession. His anger wasn't just about surpassing his limits, it was about proving he wasn't destined to be left behind. Even the Super Saiyan grades, though flawed in combat, told a story. Power wasn't enough. Bulked up forms like Grade 3 had flaws, reinforcing that true evolution wasn't about stacking strength. It was about mastering it. Personally, I love this concept, and for me, it made these forms unforgettable. That's exactly why Goku and Gohan's hyperbolic time chamber training wasn't about rushing to the next level. Instead, they focused on refining what they already had, leading to one of the most emotionally charged transformations in the series, Super Saiyan 2. Gohan's transformation wasn't just built up, it was years in the making. You could even argue that Super Saiyan 2 had more build-up than Super Saiyan 1. Gohan's journey had been leading to that moment since the very beginning. We had seen flashes of his potential throughout the series, but it was always just out of reach. Then, during the Cell games, when Android 16 gave him that final push, everything snapped into place. The raw emotion, the silent buildup, the weight of responsibility, it was a perfect storm. That scream, that music, that moment of realization, I can still feel the chills. At this point, Dragon Ball was at the top of its game, but then something shifted. By the time we reached the Buu Saga, transformations weren't just major moments anymore. They were everywhere. Suddenly, everyone had one. As Vegeta so perfectly put it, it's a Super Saiyan bargain sale. And honestly, I kinda agreed. Seeing Goten and Trunks go Super Saiyan so easily, yeah, it was cool, but it also made me realize Super Saiyan wasn't special anymore. What was once a legendary achievement had become almost routine. For years, we had been conditioned to believe that reaching Super Saiyan, or surpassing it, required something more. Goku had to witness his best friend's murder. Vegeta had to hit rock bottom, torn between his pride and his failure. But then transformations just started happening off-screen. Goku and Vegeta both unlocked Super Saiyan 2, but we never saw how. Super Saiyan 3 wasn't much better. Goku just pulled it out of nowhere with no buildup, no foreshadowing, nothing. Even Ultimate Gohan, one of the most hyped up power-ups in the series, wasn't something he fought for. He just sat down, meditated, and had it unlocked for him. And that was a huge departure from how transformations had been handled before. Now, I'm not saying these transformations were bad on their own, there's logic behind them. Goten and Trunks made sense if you accepted that each Saiyan generation got stronger. Goku and Vegeta training constantly could justify their off-screen progress. Even Super Saiyan 3, Goku literally says he had to push further beyond. Within context, they all check out. But logic doesn't always mean impact, and that was the real issue. These transformations didn't feel like milestones anymore. At this point, Toriyama was already feeling the creative fatigue of stacking transformation after transformation, so he started looking for alternatives. Instead of just adding another Super Saiyan form, he leaned into different ways to evolve power. And little did we know that back-to-basics philosophy would make a comeback in a big way when he returned for Dragon Ball Super. When Dragon Ball Super introduced Super Saiyan God, it felt like the series might be bringing some meaning back to transformations. The form was an entirely different concept, divine ki, a new kind of energy, something that rewrote the power structure of the series. I always thought this transformation was really cool. Even though the transformation was unlocked through a ritual rather than a personal breakthrough, I still thought it felt significant because it expanded Saiyan lore and introduced a fresh layer to their evolution. But then came Super Saiyan Blue. Oh boy. Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, mercifully nicknamed Super Saiyan Blue, is essentially the classic Super Saiyan look, but with blue hair. I remember when I first saw Super Saiyan Blue, and I wanted to be excited. It looked cool, it sounded strong, but something felt off. It wasn't a moment, it was the first time I really felt like Dragon Ball had lost something. And that, to me, was the moment when transformations started losing their magic. Super Saiyan Blue set a precedent for how power-ups would work going forward. They weren't going to be about growth or storytelling anymore, they were just stepping stones. Instead of giving transformations weight, Dragon Ball started treating them like a routine. Get a power boost, change the hair color, move on. From a production standpoint, I get it. Recolors are easier to animate, they keep character designs recognizable, and they make it simple for audiences to instantly register, oh, that's Goku powered up. And Dragon Ball Super really leaned into that formula. Super Saiyan God, red. Super Saiyan Blue, well, blue, obviously. Super Saiyan Rose, pink, because why not? Ultra Instinct, silver. From a marketing perspective, it was genius. Brand recognition stayed high, merchandise was easier to produce, and casual viewers didn't have to adjust to radically different designs. But while it may have worked for sales, it came at the cost of something far more important: impact. That's when it really hit me. Transformations weren't events anymore. They were just a routine part of the story by this point. Super Saiyan Rage, a transformation that, quite frankly, makes no sense. The name alone raises questions because Super Saiyan has always been triggered by rage. That's literally how it works, and the way it's introduced doesn't help either. There's no explanation for what makes it different from a standard Super Saiyan or why future Trunks is able to tap into it at that exact moment. A sudden power boost with no buildup, no real mechanics behind it. And this isn't an isolated issue. Super Saiyan Blue Evolution follows the same pattern. No setup, no buildup, it just exists, and the audience is left to infer what makes it special. But in reality, both forms feel like they were thrown in purely to keep up with the power creep rather than add anything meaningful to the story. Then we get to Beast Gohan, and I don't know. I wanted to love it, but the way it happened just felt like another example of Dragon Ball handing out transformations. Why did Gohan suddenly unlock this form? And more importantly, what even is this form? The movie tries to tie it back to his Super Saiyan 2 moment, but it doesn't have the same weight. And now with Daima, we're seeing yet another transformation, what looks like a canonized version of Super Saiyan 4, and I actually was excited about this one. But when Goku says that he had the power all along, it kind of ruins the whole moment. It feels like Dragon Ball keeps making the same mistake, introducing forms for the sake of keeping things fresh, but without the emotional weight that made them legendary in the first place. So is Dragon Ball doomed to keep doing this forever? Is the series just destined to keep churning out transformation after transformation, each one feeling less meaningful than the last? I don't think so. When Dragon Ball actually takes its time, when it cares about the why behind a transformation, it still delivers. Ultra Instinct was proof of that. It was an entirely new philosophy, something rooted in Goku's evolution as a fighter. Even Super Saiyan God at least brought something fresh to the table, expanding Saiyan lore and adding an extra layer to what power meant in the series. And yeah, even Ultra Ego's concept works really well for me. It made sense for Vegeta's character, and that's the key. If Dragon Ball wants to make transformations feel special again, it needs to slow down. Let the buildup happen. Let the characters struggle. Give us a reason to believe that this transformation isn't just a power boost, but a defining point in that character's journey. Because at the end of the day, it's never just been about the power-ups. It's about the story behind them, the feeling of watching a character break through their limits. Not just because they need to, but because they've earned it. But that's just how I see it. What do you think? Have Dragon Ball's transformations lost their magic for you? Do you think we'll get a new form that feels as special as the original Super Saiyan once did? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. We're pushing for 20k subs, and every bit of support helps. If you want to go the extra mile, consider becoming a channel member for exclusive perks. And hey, don't stop here. Check out some of my other videos. You might find something you love. See you there.